Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to get to the top of the matter, literally. We're breaking down one of the most critical parts of your home, your roof. Okay, let's just dive right in. What is the single most important shield protecting you, your family, and everything you own from the outside world? It's the one thing that defines the very idea of shelter, the roof over your head. You know, it's up there working 24/7, silently guarding your biggest investment. But because we don't really look at it every day, it's easy to forget just how much it's doing and why understanding its health is absolutely crucial for any homeowner. So to really get what makes a roof tough, you got to see one under extreme pressure. For this explainer, we're going to use the weather in Canyon Lake, Texas, as a kind of universal stress test. The thinking is, if a roof can survive here, it can survive just about anywhere. Because here's the thing about your roof. It isn't just sitting there. No way. It is fighting a constant multi-front war against the elements every single day. In a high-stress place like the Texas Hill Country, a roof is up against four major enemies. You've got these sudden, brutal hailstorms, you've got high-speed winds, that relentless sun and UV exposure, and believe it or not, even the very ground the house is built on. First up is hail. And we're not talking about a few little dings here. The impact from big hail literally shatters the fiberglass mat inside the shingle and just strips away all those protective granules. And the scary part? It creates these hidden weak spots that can cause a massive failure months after the storm is long gone. Next on the list is wind. And you should really think of it like a crowbar. High winds, they find the tiniest little loose edge on a shingle, especially around the ridges and eaves, and they just pry it up. And once that seal is broken, water gets in, and the damage can spread like wildfire. And then you've got the silent killer, UV degradation. The sun is literally cooking the asphalt in your shingles, day in and day out. It breaks down all the adhesives, makes the shingles brittle, and basically puts the aging process on fast forward. It's this slow motion attack that's just as destructive as any big storm. And get this. Here's an enemy you might never even think about, the ground itself. In places with lots of clay soil, the foundation can actually shift as the ground expands and contracts. This puts a ton of stress on the whole house, and it can pull the critical flashing away from chimneys and walls, creating perfect little highways for water to get in. So the big takeaway here is that your roof will absolutely tell you when it's in trouble. You just have to know how to read the signals before a tiny problem turns into a huge, expensive disaster. And the good news is, you don't need to be a professional roofer to be a good detective. The key is just knowing what to look for, either from the safety of the ground or by taking a quick peek inside your house. All right, so check this out. This is basically a cheat sheet for any homeowner. You see all those little sand-like granules in your gutters? Well, that's the protective skin of your shingles washing away. Water stains on the ceiling? That's the most obvious one. You've got an active leak. And if you see shingles that are curling up or blistering, that's a sure sign of advanced heat damage. In a sagging roof? Okay, that's a code red. You've got a potential structural issue. Okay, so knowing the enemies and the warning signs, that's half the battle, right? Now let's talk about how to build a fortress, a roof that's actually designed from the ground up to fight back. Your number one weapon here is your choice of material. On one hand, you've got your standard shingles. They provide basic protection. But on the other hand, you've got these Class 4 impact-resistant shingles. Now, these things are tested to withstand the impact of a 2-inch steel ball. That's the difference between a roof that gets shredded by hail and one that just shrugs it off. And bonus, it can often get you a big discount on your insurance. But here's a super critical point that gets missed all the time. Even the best shingles in the world will fail if the roof can't breathe. This quote says it all, really. If you don't have proper ventilation, your attic basically becomes an oven, hitting over 150 degrees and just cooking your roof structure from the inside out. Crazy, right? So, how does this all come together when it's actually time to do something? Well, it's all about protecting your investment. And that means you've got to understand the process and know how to pick the right people for the job. Look, any professional worth their salt is going to follow a clear 3-step playbook. It always starts with a deep dive inspection. That includes the attic and a really detailed written estimate. Then comes the installation itself, and it should always, always end with a final walkthrough and clear written warranties for both the materials and the labor. And yeah, let's talk about the numbers, because this is a big investment. For an average 2,000 square foot home, you're probably looking at somewhere between $8,000 and $16,000. And here's the key thing to remember. About 60% of that is often just labor. That's why choosing a skilled, trustworthy crew is so incredibly important. Okay, this might be the most important slide here because you have to protect yourself from the bad actors. Be really wary of anyone who pressures you to sign something on the spot or asks for all the money up front. And those folks who just show up out of the blue after a storm, those are the classic storm chasers. A vague contract or a suggestion to skip the permits, massive red flags. A real pro is going to be transparent and patient. Which, of course, leaves us with one final, crucial question to think about. I want you to look at your own home. Is its silent guardian, your roof, truly ready for whatever comes next? Because now you know what to look for, what to ask for, and what to watch out for. And that is the first and most important step in making sure the answer is a confident yes.